My spouse came out as trans-masculine non-binary after 7 years of marriage, and I'm struggling to cope. My partner, who is assigned female at birth, recently came out as trans-masculine/non-binary. They've started using they, them pronouns, wearing a binder, planning for breast reduction surgery. They've begun exclusively buying and wearing men's clothing, cutting their hair to a mannish hairstyle, and have stopped any kind of shaving. They came out in the middle of me experiencing several other very stressful life events concurrently, losing a job, finding a new one, really serious family stuff outside of our marriage. So thinking through this has been on the back burner for a while. Now that the other stuff in my life has been settled, my partner's new gender identity has moved more to the forefront of things to think about, and I'm struggling to accept how the transition fits into my life now. I fully support them in their transition, as I do any other LGBT+ folks in my life, but myself, I never planned to be in a queer marriage, and I married someone I thought was a cis woman, which is the gender identity I am most attracted to and interested in being in a romantic relationship with. I'm not even sure if it stops at being non-binary or continues to full female to male transition, because they've been pretty dodgy about their goals, which, understandable. I know it's a big and challenging step for a person to take. Some of the things that have been stressful on my end, I know this is stressful for them too. I'm not trying to downplay their experience by thinking about my own feelings. If we go out to eat, it seems like servers are going out of their way to ma'am or miss my partner. When that happens, it puts them in a bad mood and puts a damper on the whole outing. It's also been stressful because they're only out to certain people. So I have a whole collection of people to whom my partner is still their old pronouns and name, and another whole collection that would skin me alive if they heard me slip and misgender or dead name the person I've been calling these other words for over a decade. This one feels sillier than some of the other stuff, but they also will get upset at small gender norm things, like they'll get grumpy if I hold a door for them in public or if I in any way don't let them hold one open for me, and our intimate life has practically disappeared because it is just not working for me, because I'm just not intimately attracted to the more masculine presentation they've been working toward. My partner says they're never planning on coming out to family. We haven't been back home to see them since my partner came out, and it's causing me pretty strong anxiety to think about visiting and navigating them, looking and acting pretty different while not being out to our families and still getting misgendered and dead named nonstop. I am not really interested in a separation, or, I guess it's not something I want to deal with, but it seems like more and more of a possibility. Much like the gender transition, divorce was not on my radar 6 years ago when we got married, but at this point, I feel completely stuck between several options that are only bad for me. I currently live very far away from home in a new city where I have no family and only a few new friends so far, just started a new job, and can't really afford a divorce and its after effects, like paying for rent alone. I'm also not at a place in my life where dating again feels like something I could do, because I'm emotionally drained from this and the other stuff I mentioned earlier, plus a global pandemic we just did for a few years. But I also don't want to spend the rest of my life in a marriage where I no longer view my spouse as a romantic partner and more just as a close friend I live with, like a roommate I share a bed with instead of sleeping in different rooms. And I also don't want to be alone forever. Divorcing over a gender transition would alienate me from literally everyone who isn't family in my life right now because they'd all decide I was a bigot, but staying in a marriage where I feel this way feels unfair to my partner and unhealthy for me long term. So I feel I can only either bottle it up and deal with an unhappy and unfulfilling marriage for the rest of my life, or I can get divorced and be romantically alone while also socially alienating myself from all of my current friends for divorcing a non-binary person.